What's up, everybody? Renfill here, and I'm back again with more Star Wars Outlaws, which, as I've mentioned before, those of you who are returning visitors have heard me say this. This is my 2024 pick so far of my favorite game of the year. Obviously, Avowed is up in there, and we'll see what else comes out of next year. But in the meantime, we're covering this once or twice a week, talking about cool things. And I just recently did that Lucasfilm Games documentary deep dive behind the scenes featurette. There's like a 6 minute long video that they had on their Facebook page. I dove into it, and a lot of that footage tells, there's some really good clips in there with some interviews and stuff, and it's a really good starting point for learning more about Star Wars Outlaws. So hopefully you've seen that by now. If you haven't, go watch out the previous video and you'll find it and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But IGN has some stuff where they were just at Comic Con and they were able to talk to the game director and get some answers from Lucasfilm Games and representatives and stuff. So there's some other juicy tidbits that I'd like to add to this, including of which the fact that you're going to be able to work for Jabba the Hutt or betray Jabba the Hutt, which I think is a really novel concept. So let's dive into the article. Before we get going, though, if you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. And of course, check out all the other things I do on the channel, like all the Baldur's Gate 3 stuff. We do just all sorts of games in general. Um, Dust in the Eye. Check out all other playlists, join the Discord. Links are down below. Let's go ahead and get into this. We've had a lot of storms recently, everybody, and we're getting lots of dust in our eyes. It's always fun in the afternoons. I just got in from chores outside. We have a homestead if you've been around long enough. Um, let's see here. Summer of Gaming, they talked to the game director, Julian Garrity, saying that Toshara, which is basically, it looks like it's going to be the headquarters for our main character. It reminds me of what they did with the planet that uses your home base in Jedi Survivor, the name escapes me at the moment. But you spent a lot of time on that one planet. You did missions off in different places, going off world for a little bit, but always coming back. And I would say, spending a few dozen hours just in that one planet, exploring everything there. I'd say that sounds like what they're doing here with this home planet. But the cool thing is the way they've taken literal inspiration from the Eastern African savanna and then blended that together with their own fantastical environments and designing something that's meant to be open and vast and expansive so that you can get the most out of the speeder, which we kind of saw in lesser degrees in Jedi Survivor, where you're able to get a mount and ride that mount around those, huge open areas. This all sounds amazing. The footage, by the way, if you haven't watched the original gameplay trailer that dropped a few months back, check that out. Also, check out the Lucasfilms Games documentary as soon as you get a chance. It's behind the scenes. It's on their Facebook page. They don't have a YouTube channel, as far as I'm aware, but they did have a Facebook page. I talked about it previously, but it's really a great way to get a lot of cool footage from what they've got so far with her and her speeder. There's combat on the speeder. There's all sorts of amazing stuff that this game has so far that we've seen. They also talk about here, of course, you'll be able to work for and betray Jabba the Hutt, which is really, really cool. Um, there's a little bit of biome talk in the video as well as here's the article. But then it's here that it says Lucasfilm senior creative executive Matt Martin stepped in to mention Lucasfilm's 80-20 rule of designing locations that are 80% familiar with 20% alien or fantastical. So we've got East African inspiration with fantastical city and massive outcroppings of crystal, which makes sense. Every world builder out there will take inspiration from a real source as often as they can. There was a panel apparently at San Diego Comic Con where Tatooine was discussed as, again, a somewhat similar landscape, but as was put on at the panel, it's not just about recreating Tatooine, it's about creating a place with its own sense of history. It says, when we first thought about where to bring Kay, Lucasfilm Games encouraged us to create our own locations, and Toshara was born out of the challenge. How would Massive build upon that world? The hive of scum and villainy. So Toshara has been designed with the aim of letting players live out your scoundrel fantasy. It sounds really, really, really cool around this character of Kay that you're playing. And then one of the best timelines of all time, which is after Empire Strikes Back, which is the best movie of all of the films that have ever come out, obviously. It's a great timeline for the rebels. It's a great timeline for the Empire, sort of at their peak, but also in a very dangerous, precarious situation because of how far they've pushed people. It's man, that was like cinematic magic happening in front of our eyes. Those of us who have been around long enough. I was a wee baby lad. So I have I didn't see them in the theaters even, but I remember growing up with these on VHS because my parents had gone and seen them in the theaters. I was born in 1980. So from the time I was about 3 or 4 years old, I started seeing Star Wars films, and they've always been a part of my life. And this is just awesome, awesome stuff. Um, they're talking about here the Lucasfilm archives, which is something that really amazes me in terms of their ability to go back and access these huge catalogs of information, which in a lot of ways, if you've ever played like any of games or read any additional Star Wars material, doesn't matter where or what era, there's always like the Jedi archives are always like this massive archive of information that everyone can go to if you're part of the Jedi Order that you get tons of information. And Lucasfilm essentially has that for the entirety of the Star Wars universe. It's pretty awesome that people who work on projects get a chance to um, go there and get whatever they want to use that as inspiration um, to build things of their own, which is great. So they've literally talking about the virtual tourism and spending a lot of time at Jabba's palace, running missions for the Hutt himself and navigating the criminal underworld he's at the center of. And yes, it says it's possible not just to work for Jabba, but also to betray him, which has its own set of consequences. Really cool. Apparently, the panel didn't have any new gameplay or news trailers or new trailers, but it's supposed to be a next year game. Do they have an author tag on this? Rebecca Valentine over at IGN. So make sure to give full credit to her for the article. I enjoyed it. It was very well written. Is what sparked me to make this video around it. I'm really excited about this game. I think that. When I look at how much enjoyment I've gotten out of the Jedi Order and Survivor games, those were fairly linear. Even though you could go off planet, it was a very linear adventure. And everything we've seen about Star Wars Outlaws so far is like that Red Dead Redemption 2 or Grand Theft Auto vibe in space. Like you can go around these planets and do all these missions and do all these things that you can get in your ship and literally fly the ship in What's up, everybody? Quick commercial break here to give it a shout out to our guild champions, who are the highest tier memberships here on YouTube. Ancient Entity, Assassin Gamer 94, Bubbleonia Rising, Crazy's Relative, Mujin, and Remedy. Thanks so much for the highest tier membership. And thanks to all of the members who support the channel, because you keep me doing this full time. You too can become a supporter if you're new here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Join as a member. There's 3 different tiers. We do lots of special stuff, private polls, private videos. You get a shout out if you're the highest tier membership, but you can also do one-off donations in the form of super chats on any live stream or premiere you see, and of course super thanks on any upload or YouTube short. Whatever you can contribute, it's great. Keeps me on the air full time, keeps the cats fed, keeps the homestead running. Anyway, back to the video, everybody. Ship in Atmo or go up through the atmosphere into the area surrounding the planet, and then you can explore around the planet, get into dogfights of the planet, explore other stuff around the planet, and then plot a hyperspace route to another planet. And they haven't mentioned how many planets they're building, but they have said that the planets are going to be the size of 2 to 3 Assassin's Creed Odyssey zones or regions put together. But they've also said in a recent article that they're not trying to build a 300-hour epic RPG that feels impossible to beat, but they are planning to build something significant. So we'll see what that means ultimately. I'll be happy with anything that is 40 to 50 hours long or beyond. I will be extremely happy with. Given what I've seen so far and having played like Red Dead Redemption 2, if they could create that level of a game, I got like 6 months out of my first Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough because there was so much to see and do. There was like I'm just going to keep playing, and there was really, it's just a great game where you could live in that world. And I've yet to play anything that sort of replicated that virtual world feel in quite the same way as Red Dead Redemption 2 does. And it's an older game at this point. It's still a great game. And everything I've seen of this reminds me of that game a lot while also having that Star Wars feel to it. So I'm extremely happy with whatever is 40, 50 hours and beyond makes me a very happy camper. But I'm obviously hoping for something that I can see, 150 would be nice. 150 completionist hours is always going to leave me with a shit-eating grin on my face and the feeling that I've definitely spent my money's worth like on a $70 purchase. So food for thought. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below with my big old splinted finger. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update from me as I continue to cover Star Wars Outlaws and all the other things we cover on my channel. The news, game for games, and TV show reviews, and film reviews, and Baldur's Gate 3, and Diablo 4, and Starfield, and all sorts of other fun stuff. So check it out. See you in the next one. Don't forget Discord down below.